but for three last years, I worked at the United Nations in New York. So, and every single time when, for instance, European countries, even US, they like very much, even though they not necessarily always do the good job around the world, but they were always including the human rights in many different, because it's always, it goes this, whatever issue you touch between states, it's always human rights is a part of the everything. And all the time, two countries in particular. So they're always opposing it. And it's a constant battle that, like, European countries and US is introducing the issue of human rights, and Russia with China, they're fighting to take it away. So it's a permanent, it's like always spend our time, I say Massimo was saying about that very often scholar conferences are not very productive and it's a lot about talking. And I was smiling inside of me by saying, and diplomatic, meaning the conferences between states is very often just about talking. Let's talk. It's beautiful. Take a nice issue and just discuss and do nothing. While in reality, people are suffering and then we have wars and we have many problems. So states also, because, and most of the time where states, they lose a lot of energy is fighting, it will be mentioned, the human rights, or it will not be mentioned. And China is one of those major forces who always would fight till the last minute to eliminate even the mentioning of human rights. So it's known, it's not new, and the battle, it's very difficult. And even in a way, it's a little bit understandable that South Korea is in a very delicate situation, political situation, because of the actual situation in North Korea. And already, it's a fantastic that your case is known by the Human Rights Without Frontiers. It's a very good that in Europe already knows your case. That is a problem. This acknowledgement is extremely important. So, and you should continue, let world know your problem. Usually, when it's really the case with refugee, normally even people, they are not against the refugees. Because they know that refugees usually people who escape the torture and persecution. It's not they don't leave the country because they want to live in better economical situation. Because migrants, usually it's economical reasons. But refugees, those are people who are really escaping something. And this something, we have to help them. They are many, they are not many, it's not even the question. And very often, of course, you have the bad guys who are overusing, making propaganda, and etc. It exists, but somehow people, they find the right way to understand what is refugee and what is not refugee. What is difficult, as I mentioned, for instance, like if you take that the fact is that Eritrea, because government takes the boys for the military service for life, it's quite recruiting. It's like they cannot escape it, and quite few European countries, they give the refugee status almost automatically to Eritrean boys. So the situation is that black African coming from all over Africa, they lose the document, and they say, I'm Eritrean. So it takes time to really go to the bottom of the situation if really the boy is from Eritrea. Because if the boy is from Eritrea, he will be granted the refugee status. But he is from Mali or he is from Senegal, that's another situation. So meaning that there are a lot of abusers. So that's why the processes sometimes they are slow. But I believe that, I don't know how specifically of your brothers and sisters in Italy, for instance, I just don't know. I don't have the facts. So most probably that when they really go to the bottom of it, and they will be granted. But now the question is that you are in South Korea and you cannot be deported from Korea. It will be a criminal act from the part of Korea to deport somebody who risks his life be deported. So that is the bottom line, and that's where the red line is, and that is the red line that you should defend. Thank you.